Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It is a delight to see everyone here today for a very special theme, Love is All We Need. But I would like to first welcome the guests that we have on board for tonight, starting with Carol. Please introduce yourself and say a quick hello.
Hi, everybody. I'm Carol Zhang from Johor Bahru, Malaysia. And I've been in Toastmasters for 7 years. And I love coming back to Interpersonal Toastmasters Club. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. We appreciate it. Another guest that we have today is Anu, who's going to be our counter. Please introduce yourself to us briefly.
Hello everyone, I'm Anuradha. I'm from India, living in Hyderabad. I have been in Toastmasters since 1 year.
Welcome. We thank you so much for joining us tonight. And then we have Ramakrishna Billy.
Hi everyone. Good morning and good evening. I'm basically from India. I moved to Canada in 1 year back. So I'm presently in Canada.
Wonderful. Well, thank you to have everybody joining us. And we have our two newest members, Aparna and Jones, here tonight. Yay. It gives me great pleasure today to introduce our Toastmaster for the day. We have Aparna Prabhuseda.
Prabhudasa, yes.
Prabhudasa. Welcome.
Aparna works fine. Aparna itself is complicated. Thank you so much for that, Susan. That was lovely, and in spite of technology getting to us a bit, we're going to keep this going and make sure we will attempt to stick to time. So thank you all our guests who joined in. Thank you for all the regular wonderful people of this group who join in and make my Friday mornings so wonderful. So on that note, a good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody once again for joining in, and thank you for the season is of love. February, it struck me way later saying, oh, I should have requested people to wear reds. And then I said, really, what is it about red? It doesn't matter what color we wear, as long as you love what you wear, which essentially means, that whole word love, sometimes a little over exaggerated, if you ask me. And yet, I guess, that's what makes the world go round, they say, right? So on that, sort of little note, oh, I have a power outage. Okay. Am I still visible?
Yes.
I am. Okay. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed and hope that the net doesn't collapse on me now, but I'm going to keep going, and I'm not sure how the hosting rights are going to go. So I'm just going to anyway, go ahead and forget about the, deck. I'm going to just talk to you about what I wanted to talk to you about. So when we talk about love and expressing that love, right, there's a whole bunch of things that happen when we look at love. And I thought, what better way than to start off with a little love poem. Please, I'm going to try and read it out to you, right? So it starts and goes like this. Have I told you yet how much you mean to me? Have I told you yet about all the happiness you bring? Have I told you yet that you mean the world to me? Just in case I haven't, I want you to know that you're the best thing that ever happened to me. I love you. If you haven't said that to somebody as yet, start your day on that note. It doesn't matter to whom. That is the beautiful part about love. Love has various forms and various methods to that expression. The love between a mother and a child, the love between two partners, the love for two friends, the love for your country, the love for the work that you do. That is one emotion that, like I said at the start, keeps the world going. Well, science, interestingly, and like most of the people on this group know, I'm a sports person. Till I don't draw inferences to sports, well, that's something I love to do. Interestingly, when you are in love and the hormone that gets going is the oxytocin, kicks off dopamine, which means what does it do? It helps you reduce stress. It helps you more willing to make sacrifices. It helps you boost your passion. It, of course, improves your physical health because your heart is in a better place. And hence, it gives you a longer lifespan. Now, that sort of tells us why it is so critical to look at and talk about love. Well, when I'm saying talk about love, and I started off with that poem, and the non-romantic in me had to bring the science in and talk about oxytocin and dopamine. Well, let's go back to the nicer, woozy feeling of love. And I'd like to share with you the various forms of expression of love. So you could express, apart from, a gentle touch, a caress, a nudge, all of that, verbally, because that's what we Toastmasters look at. There are poems that help you express love. There are ballads. So what are ballads? These are songs, and especially love songs or songs around ones that narrate love sagas. Then there are quotes, like today's message on WhatsApp. We had a little quote from Abhijit, and we said a certain thing, and that's a quote. Phrases and idioms. Have you heard that one? Everything is fair in love and war. Now that is a phrase and idiom. And then one of my favorites that I'm sort of picking up or attempting to pick up these days is something called a limerick. So what is a limerick? A limerick is a form of a verse, and usually it's supposed to be humorous, sometimes rude, but it's in 5 lines. Now that is what is critical. It's a 5-line short rhyming poem in which, interestingly, the first, second, and 5th line of that rhyme need to rhyme up, as in, the metric rhyme up. And the 3rd and 4th lines are shorter with a similar rhyming bit. So since it's something that I'm learning to work at or I'm attempting to make, I thought that's what I will do today. As the Toastmaster of the day, I'm going to use limericks as, a support for myself to try and introduce my team, because as a Toastmaster, I can't do this alone. It never works like that, which means as a Toastmaster of the day, I have an extremely effective team up here. And I'm going to start off with calling out the 3 people who are going to help me as part of what is called the tag team. And let me, first talk about an important person there who is going to be my grammarian. Okay. And before I ask her, invite her over to share her role, I thought, here's a little limerick about the grammarian. So the grammarian, they say, corrects your can to may. Perhaps it's many words in a bouquet. Oh, how I wonder what a grammarian's true love is. Cause bad language to them is soda without fizz. Please put your hands together for Toastmaster Catherine. Over to you to introduce your role, please.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the day, Aparna. Toastmasters and guests, the word of the day is penchant. Penchant is pronounced penchant or penchant. I do not know which part of the world you come from, but certainly you will figure out how to pronounce it. It is a strong or habitual liking for something, or a tendency to do something. And there's some ways you can use it. For example, you could say, I put it in the group chat, I hope you can all see it. You could say, he has a penchant for adopting stray dogs. That's just one of the ways to use it. I will be looking out for great use of the English language. And at the end of the meeting, I will share my report. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you so much for that wonderful word for us. Please do remember to use it, everyone. Catherine's put together this beautiful word, penchant. Today for me, penchant. Well, I have a penchant for love and love poetry. So they're being able to use it. And next person that I'm going to call on is going to be my counter. So here's a limerick for the R counter. Ooh, ah, but and hum. The R counter is watching for every crumb. So watch what you say when the R counter is at play. For her sharp ears, don't miss a strum. For you, ladies and gentlemen, the R counter, Toastmaster Anuradha. Toastmaster Anu, do we have you here?
Sorry, sorry, I was speaking on
That's
mute.
it. No.
Sorry. Thank you very much, Toastmaster of the Day, Aparna. I'm Anuradha. Today I'm playing role of accounter. The purpose of accounter is to note the words and sounds that are used as part of your speech, crutch words, fillers, whatever. Those words I'll note it. And during the meeting, I'll carefully listen all overused words also, including well, but, as you know, and etc. etc. Every person will use different crutch fillers. Then finally, I will give my report end of the meeting. Over to you, Toastmaster of the Day, Aparna. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that, Toastmaster Anu. And moving on from there, the timer. So when I mentioned the tag team to you and for our guests' benefit here, it's the timer, the R counter, and the grammarian. If you're wondering, why did I reverse that order? Well, to me, in the way I love those roles, the grammarian, forever ready to take one on, it loves me to find, what went well, what could be better in a language. I love languages. So there is that, the grammarian taking on the role. Then we, of course, have the R. And the time is something that I personally am struggling to keep up with. And hence, as always, I have requested the timekeeper to go the last, but a limerick for my timekeeper. So tick tock goes the little clock. The timer is watching you like a hawk. So mind the little green, yellow, and red. The cards tell you to stop or to go ahead. Be mindful of them, and your speech you will rock. We have our timer for the day, Toastmaster Archana.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the Day, Aparna. So my goal, my goal for today is to be able to take note of the timings of each of our speaker. So there will be 3 cards for me. The green card, which means that you have already reached the minimum time. The yellow and then the red time, which means that you are over your time. So be mindful when you are speaking to that. And I will also be evaluating the timings of our meeting. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day, Aparna.
Thank you, Toastmaster Grace, for that. That was lovely for identifying our time. And then, of course, now it's time for us to get into, the meat of the meeting, which means our prepared speeches, right? And I'm going to let the speaker speak before I come back with the limerick for the speaker. So we've got Toastmaster Jones coming to us as our first speaker for the day. And I'm going to request, we have, I think Toastmaster Piyush was doing the evaluation for him. Yes. Toastmaster Piyush, requesting you to share our first speaker's speech details with us, please.
Thank you, Toastmaster Aparna. Today we'll hear from our very newly onboarded member, Jones. He has joined us a couple of times as guest, and he has penchant of using beautiful expressions. So his icebreaker speech, the title is Set Your Mind Right and Become the Captain of Your Life. With that, back to you, Toastmaster Aparna, to invite Jones.
Thank you. So we have Toastmaster Jones with his speech. Toastmaster Jones.
Set your mind right and become the captain of your life. Who are you becoming? I'm John Sambaombe, the financial advisor. I have been in the banking sector for 17 years now. I have a patient what trends in the financial sector. I teach people about wealth so that they can live abundantly, by equipping them with the technical skills to properly manage their personal finances. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, 37 years ago, I appeared on earth from a sweet mother who taught me about wealth in 3 ways: health, experience, and freedom. They say money can't buy happiness, but I believe money can buy experience, the holidays that we enjoy almost every day. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, I've always shunned public speaking because I started and adolescent. I couldn't pronounce the name Lucy. I mispronounced it as Luther. I was turned into a laughing stock. What's your mindset regarding money? Give me a sense in the chat by typing the word money. I love the music by the ABBA group about money, which goes like, money, 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 sweet melodies. Let me take you on a journey about my relationship with money. I was raised by a single mom. One day I'm seated, I'm watching her doing laundry, music coming through my ears. Then I approach her, Mom, could you please give me just a 1 cent to go and watch video games with my friends? All I receive is a slap in my face. Money does not grow on trees. I plead with her, please, Mom. Then she goes to say, go and study. Shake the hell up. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, a couple of decades ago, I decided to join the banking sector. I'd always dreamed of counting money when I was young, that one day I would work for the bank at a counter. I had a passion for counting money, such that when I received my first paycheck, I literally squandered the whole money. Through partying, it was party after party. I ran out of transport money to go for work. I used to walk. One day I reached the office, sweaty and smelly. And then they asked me to speak. I fumbled. I was booed off stage. William Ennis says, you are the captain of your soul. You are the master of your fate. I went home, sat and reflected. Oh, please, God, give me courage to discover my voice and have proper financial stewardship. The following day, a voice of reason crept through my mind, saying, Jones, please research about public speaking and financial literacy. I had to think all the way. George Shaw says, lack of money is the root cause of all evil. I joined Toastmasters to enhance my public speaking skills and become a better leader. My goal is to become #1 financial advisor in the world and best transformational speaker. Society had laughed at me that I couldn't speak because I wasn't born a speaker. Who are you becoming? Are you taking charge of your life? Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Oh yes, absolutely, Diana. Couldn't agree more. Jones has a nice voice, value, speech, and hand and gestures and body language. Thank you for that, Diana. Yes, we will add that to the evaluation piece for peers to make a note of course. And what a lovely expression. You took me back to Ernest Hemingway's poem about I'm the master of my ship. I'm the master, captain of my ship. I'm the master of my fate. How beautiful was that? Thank you for that lovely speech there. And moving on, I am wondering if I should bring in my limerick right here if I call in the second speaker, DTM Susan, to come up. But maybe before that, I'd have the second evaluator be able to give us the speech details.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Susan.
Toastmaster. Susan will present a personal story of a very special day story with a twist. Susan will be speaking from Engaging Humor Path, Level 2, Know Your Sense of Humor. The title is A Love Story. Susan has a penchant for humor. The purpose of this project is to begin developing a collection of humor stories and to present a speech that includes humor. The time given is 5 to 7 minutes. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Carol, for that one. So we've got DTM Susan coming up with a love story. DTM Susan.
I'd like to share with you a very special love story. It's about a boy meeting a girl and falling madly in love. And he proposed, and she wanted nothing to do with it. You see, she'd already experienced this, and not successfully. But he persisted, and he kept on pursuing her for 2 full years until she said yes. They were like 2 young children madly in love. But would you like to know what turned the tide? It was a very special proposal, unlike any the world has ever heard. You see, they lived in this magical land called Long Island, New York, where for some reason, all of the leaves fell off the trees from September till November. It was every single weekend raking the leaves in the yard that she had at her home. Every weekend, the leaves were 3 feet deep. And one weekend he said to her, "So what would you like to do next weekend? Would you like to rake leaves or get married?" And she said yes to the marriage. You mean I never have to rake leaves again as long as I live? You've got a deal. But this special story didn't end in just one marriage. It was 2 and 3 and 4. And yes, they were married 4 times to each other. And I'm going to take you on that little journey. The first time was an elopement. And while she did live on the 2nd floor, he did not take the ladder. He used the stairs. It's okay. They ran away to a local justice of the peace, bringing 2 of her friends and her 2 little children from her first marriage. They got married and they were very happy. And then quite a number of years later, they had an opportunity to get married within the Catholic Church. And yes, he was wearing a smiley face tie. The priest couldn't take his eyes off it, saying, you've been married 16 years to each other and you still have a smile on your face and you still have the smiley face, get married in the church. What a wonderful blessing. The 3rd time they renewed their vows in marriage was on their 25th wedding anniversary. And they were still smiling. Can you see the size of the smile on that man's face? It was delightful. On their 30th wedding anniversary, they had the privilege of getting married in Israel, renewing their vows. Our local priest and a group from our church went on a pilgrimage to Israel. And there we were in Cana, Israel, at the location where Christ changed the water into wine. What a party they had. Wonderful celebration. Now, the next time they had an opportunity to celebrate was their 35th wedding anniversary. However, it was the Toastmasters Fall Conference. It was the fairy tale conference. So they were planning a weekend getaway. And she was thinking, perhaps it would be something romantic. She had a penchant for romance. This man was delightful. And she imagined exactly what it would be. But waiting patiently, she asked for some hints. And he said, it's something with diamonds in it. So she's imagining the most beautiful necklace, or perhaps the perfume, white diamonds, which was her favorite. Well, he surprised her for sure. He gave her a deck of cards. And you know what? There's almost 100 diamonds in that deck of cards. But they did not put it to waste because, you see, they went to the fairy tale conference as the king and the queen of hearts. And no, that's not her real hair. They decided they were going to travel. And they traveled across the country from New York down to Florida and then even off to Hawaii. Aloha. Then they traveled internationally through many different countries in Europe, and even the little country down here called Israel. They traveled the globe. And then one day, they had another conference with Toastmasters, and it was called Time and Again, Let's Travel Through the Years Together. And so they did time travel. First, they went back to the 1970s. And the gentleman actually joined the group known as the Village People as the Biker Dude. And he had a blast. It was so much fun. Then he went on to the 1950s, and he was the Big Bopper. And then they had sort of a time warp because he was the Blues Brothers in the 1970s, and she was Sandra Dee with a poodle skirt and saddle shoes in the 1950s. But it worked for them. They had a blast. And no, that's not her real hair. Then they went back to the 1920s, the roaring 20s, and had a blast in Chicago with all the gangsters. And then back to the Wild West, the 1860s, and he was the sheriff, and she was on board. And then they went all the way back to a location some 2,000 years ago. And I think that's as far back as they were choosing to travel. Met this young man named Jesus, but they had a wonderful trip. And the true love story is one that never ends. They've now been married for 41 years, and we're hoping for another 40, because Werner, darling, as much as I love you, I want to let you know that your love warms my heart. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Oh, I'm crying. This was so beautiful. I know, right? This was just so beautiful. And thank you for sharing something so personal. Truly, truly appreciate. Makes one realize and feel that, well, love is something forever. Can relate to some of it on a personal note. 32 years of being married has been a long time for me too. But it's just something that is absolutely beautiful. So truly, truly there. And I'm sure the evaluators are going to have a tough time being able to evaluate that speech. Thank you, Toastmaster Susan, for that lovely one. And after this, we are ready and excited because we've got something that all of us are going to speak a little more today. And I'm sure our table topics master is going to be all there and ready for us with some interesting topics. Do we have our table topics master ready? Toastmaster Archana, over to you.
Greetings to everybody. Greetings to the Toastmaster of the day and the fellow Toastmasters across the world, across the globe. I'm Archana Kamlakar, and it's a privilege to be Toastmaster of the day, privilege to be the table topic master today. And yeah, as a table topic master, let me tell you about table topics. Table topics is an impromptu section, and I feel it is a very interesting and exciting section of the Toastmasters meeting. And in this meeting, what you get to learn is listening skills. It improves your listening skills. It helps you comprehend what is topic given. It helps you collect your thoughts and present it in a very short period of time. So this is what you will learn and enhance skills with table topics. And this section is open for the guests as well. So if you have any guests who are part of this meeting, they are welcome to be part, to take part in the topics today. And I would appreciate people who can actually volunteer for the topics. I have a list of topics, and we can pick one by one. And I would like Timer to give some guidelines on table topics. So Timer, Toastmaster Grace, would you like to give guideline about the timings?
Thank you, Table Topics Master Archana. For our timings today, it's going to be from 1 to 2 minutes. So it's going to be green color if you reach 1 minute. 1.5 would be yellow, and then red would be at 2. So you can wrap it up. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Toastmaster Grace. So today's theme is really interesting. Love is all we need. Thanks, Aparna, for bringing such an interesting topic. And it really made me realize that we are in the month of February, and it's the month of love, right? All right, so I do have a mix of topics. I would want one to volunteer. I see Diana already raising a hand. So
you could give your topic to Deanna. She will type it out in the chat for us, and you could, in the meantime, maybe give your next topic to. I see some guests there, so you can give Deanna her topic while she writes it out. And I thought I saw Mary, who's one of our guests today. Mary, would you want to?
So yes, awesome. So let me give the topic to Diana. So Diana, here is the topic for you. Is love blind? Is love blind? So we will wait for your comments in the chat section, Diana. Meanwhile, let me move on to another person, to Mary. Here is the topic for you. What's the best pickup line you have heard about love? What's the best pickup line you have heard about love?
Table topic master. Pickup lines. There are many, aren't there? And guys are experts in this. Just leave it to a guy. He sees an attractive girl and there goes all the pickup lines. Do I know you? Isn't your name Grace? So that will elicit an answer, no, it's Mary. Haven't I heard all of these? Or the different types of pickup lines? Met you somewhere before. Where? No, I'm very sure I met you somewhere before. No, I don't think I've met you before. No, remember? And then they start chatting. Now, when you ask me which is the best pickup line, I would say it's still this one. Aren't you Grace, or aren't you May, or aren't you someone else? So that it's an automatic response that, you know, it's like, no, I'm not. Because we are caught unawares, or we are not gonna happen. We're not gonna think that this is gonna happen. I remember one now though. I was at a Toastmasters convention in Kuala Lumpur. I'm from Malaysia actually. And there is an astrologer who was in the district, who was a district officer. The moment he saw me, I know this guy, but I don't know him personally, but I met him on that day. He took my hand and he said, because he's an astrologer, he's a palm reader. And I said, what? To him, because he's a Toastmaster. I didn't want to say, hey, what are you doing with my hand? Then he just grabbed my hand like that. So if you ask me, that was the best. I just recalled at the moment. And from there, he started a conversation, and then he was talking, and he went on and on. Thank goodness I'm not from Kuala Lumpur. I managed to escape, and I was able to go back, you know, without being what shall I say, caught in his web of pickup lines. Back to you, Table Topic Master.
That's interesting, Mary. You have put it in right words. So I would say, listening to your lines, I remember how enchanted I am for the Bollywood songs. And for people who are not aware of Bollywood, it is like Hollywood is for United States, Bollywood is for India in Hindi language. And yes, the King Khan, spreading his arms this way, if you can see my hands, spreading this way and spreading love everywhere, the Shah Rukh Khan, right? So this reminds me that this is a season for love. All right, moving on to the next topic. I would want a volunteer to raise their hand. Any person who want to? Awesome. Toastmaster Jim. Okay, moving on to a different topic. What would you do differently if you knew nobody would judge you?
What would I do differently if nobody, what's the next word?
If you knew that nobody is going to judge you.
Oh, judge me. Okay. What would I do differently if I knew no one was going to judge me? I probably would have, in high school certainly, and also in college, I would have actually tried to go on dates. I purposely did not date in either high school or college because I was absolutely convinced that if I tried to do it, I would fall flat on my face, unlike my brother, who seems to always be able to attract the most interesting women during high school. I was always comparing myself to him. That's what I would do differently, because even though I didn't date, there were many people who I met, who I liked and who liked me, and who probably, if they were asked, might be wondering, hey, I might want to go out with Jim if only he would ask me. So that's what I would do differently. I would just be more definite about how I feel about people and not be afraid to say so, like I was back in those much younger days. Thank you for the question.
Awesome. Interesting to know about that, Jim. Now let's go to the next. Anybody who would want to go next? I do not see any hands raised up. Okay, let me pick one. Piyush, would you like to pick the top? Would you like to?
Sure. Yeah.
All right, I have list of questions in my paper. Would you like to choose one number?
5.
Okay. Can you throw some light on normalizing social media detox?
Well, I'll start by saying I don't fully understand the question, but let me give it a shot anyways. I think there are a lot of social media website as well as application that people go to. And with the advent of TikTok, there are shorter and shorter videos that are catchy. And these platforms promote these videos based on their algorithm such that the most watched videos get surfaced at the top. With that, what people tend to do is they get most catchy, most interesting, really short videos and stuff to watch, and they end up scrolling, and hours pass by without them knowing how much time they spent. Similarly, along the same lines, Facebook has started Reels, and I believe there are other social media websites who are experimenting along these lines. So once you are into it, you're killing time. You're having overdose of all of the chemicals that gives you the sense of happiness. So if you really want to detox, what I've seen some people do is they will uninstall these apps, knowing that it's like a hurdle for them to like go and install and then watch these. So if you set your environment such that you can detox from these social media, you can do it. Make it a bit more difficult. Maybe if you have your phone and 5-6 different screens, maybe slide it towards the last screen so that you have to put some more effort and have something in front of you that's more meaningful, like maybe short news stories or something that's more fulfilling in some ways, like gratitude stories. There are websites that share positive stories. So that's my idea of social media detox. Back to you, Table Topic Master Archana.
I should say that was awesome inputs from your side. While Piyush, Toastmaster Piyush, you mentioned that you did not get the question right. I should say that you have thrown good insights on the topic. And me being a social media lover, it's not easy to quit social media. I mean, it's not easy to get a detox from social media that easy. Yeah. And coming back to the topic today's, which is love is all we need. This reminds me that my caller tune says, like, love you Zindagi. Zindagi means life, and love you Zindagi is my all-time favorite song. Whoever calls me hears that, and I feel that it is bringing back to the present, right, moment. All right. Do I have a topic? Do I have time for one more topic, or are we good?
We have Diana's answer. So I'm going to read that, and maybe we can have that as the last one. So Diana's written out saying, minute that blind dates fall in love when minutes go out somewhere. The lady couldn't see everything that the blind lady is touch faces in a minute. All right, Diana, thank you so much for that. Sure, a blind date, I wonder where, but all the best to you on many blind dates for that case. And thank you so much, our Table Topics Master, Toastmaster Archana, for those awesome topics, a mixed blend of so many things which had us all covered. And
thank you, Toastmaster.
Yep, love you Zindagi. Like you said, I agree there totally. In love with life, a passion that helps you with everything. Being in love impacts everything that you do. Well, A good speech is an important part of the speaker's role. If it doesn't go well, it can take its toll. Speak to be heard, speak to impact. Life is drama, not just play or act. And our evaluators now are set to roll. So we've got our first evaluator coming up, Toastmaster Piyush, to be able to evaluate Toastmaster Jones's speech. Over to you, Toastmaster Piyush.
Thank you, Toastmaster Aparna. So Jones, congratulations for completing your icebreaker. Your camera was off in the beginning, and I was thinking, like, when the speech comes up, what will happen? And then you surprised us. You had the camera set up in a way that you can stand, we can see your full body and the body language. It was a very happy surprise. So congratulations on starting it that great. And then you continue to surprise us. Like, I didn't know that you will incorporate a lot of good elements of speech, like body language. Like, you have like really good hand gestures that you showed us. A lot of vocal variety. Like, you kind of sang in the middle at one point, like money, money, money. Like, that was like, yeah, that's like cherry on top. And when you were saying something that's more touchy, or that's something that requires certain expression, you did have that expression in your voice. It showed up in the vocal variety that you have used. At one point, you're doing conversation with your mom, and you use a different pitch when you're saying, mom says this, and then you say that. That was a lot to incorporate in your speech. So it was a job really well done. You also had a good structure to your speech. So you told us what you're going to tell us. Like, you're like, hey, these are the three things we'll talk about, like health, health, experience, and freedom. And then a lot of interesting phrases like money can buy experience, but it may not buy happiness. And then money does not grow on trees when you ask for money at one point. You did establish your story of how you started the journey of not being able to speak certain words and not very good at public speaking, to now you join Toastmaster, and congratulations for that. You're on the way of becoming a better and better speaker. And I believe you are at a really good place where you're able to incorporate all such element of speech that should be in the speech. And towards the end, you did establish what's your goal. So you want to become the #1 financial advisor and a great public speaker. And you had pauses, and they were timed. Like, it didn't feel like you're missing something, but it felt like they were deliberate pauses. So yeah, I mean, I have a lot of good things to say for your speech. In terms of what you can work on, I wish I could catch some more meaningful, but it's the teeny tiny bit that I would share. There is a problem, I guess, for any language speaker who's non-native English speaker. You have, or even I as a Hindi speaker, I don't have my my mother tongue is Hindi, so certain words I pronounce is slightly different from how I expect it to be, and it's easy for the native speaker of the same language to understand. So I was not able to get certain words, and I believe some of the other people on this meeting would have understood those words, because I feel like there's a bit of accent. So that's something for you to be aware and maybe make progress on that front. And towards the end, I wasn't very sure if you had something as a takeaway for the audience, but that's something you must have for the audience to take away and figure out what they can learn or what they can take from the speech. So overall, very well done, excellent speech. Thank you so much, Jones, and we would look forward to listening from you a lot more during our meetings. Thank you, and back to you, Toastmaster Aparna.
Thank you so much for that, Toastmaster Piyush. I'm sure every word that you've added is going to add value to Toastmaster Jones's journey as he moves up in the Toastmaster world. And now we've got Toastmaster Carol coming up with her evaluation for that lovely love story that we heard from DTM Susan. So, Toastmaster Carol.
You are muted, Carol. Sorry.
Wow, what a beautiful love story, Susan, with the title, A Love Story. I like the way you present your story without telling the audience who was the main hero of the story. Kept me guessing. You led the audience into your story and held me spellbound. I was so engrossed in this wonderful and humorous story, absolutely beautiful. You spoke with a clear voice, and I love your articulation and intonation. Your slides were interesting and in line with the path, engaging humor. You added some funny cartoons and humorous pictures of the different decades. Getting married 4 times. Huh? That made me laugh. With that, just a little suggestion, maybe would be better. I would love to see you with more facial expressions and surprises when you shared your story. Make us surprised that you are surprised. Add a pun. With also, that will add humor. In conclusion, Susan, you're a great storyteller. Your slides were excellent and funny. Your story engaged the audience well. I would love to hear more of your humorous stories with some facial expressions and add pun into your humor. And that's all from me. Thank you, and back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Carol, for that lovely evaluation. It's often tough to find anything when Toastmaster Susan has her stories to narrate. For a moment there, I could actually hear the intonation make it sound almost poetic, as though she was on with the limericks that I had hung on to today. And I found myself sort of tapping to the beat of the way she was speaking. And then I said, this is a story I need to get off. And here it has a story. So it was truly beautiful. And thank you there for the wonderful evaluations. Well, we've looked at the evaluations for the speech, and it's time for us to be also looking at our evaluations from the valuable tag team. So we're going to turn back to our grammarian to be able to share with us the grammarian report.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Aparna. I would like to congratulate the following people for using the word of the day so generously. Our Toastmaster of the day, Aparna, thank you. To Toastmaster Carol, Toastmaster Jones, Toastmaster Piyush, Table Topics Master Archana, Toastmaster Dr. Mary Thomas, and DTM Susan. Thank you so much for using the word of the day. If I didn't mention your name and you have used the word of the day, take my sincere apologies. But I also want to thank every speaker for beautiful music to my ears, from the poetry from our Toastmaster. You enchanted us with words that just made so much meaning. Thank you for introducing the tag team in such a very, very creative way. TikTok for the timer, and for the counter, but, you know, those were very brilliant ways of presenting the tag team. Jones, we cannot forget how you presented your history. You appeared on Earth 37 years ago. Slop in your face. Money grows on trees. A penchant for counting money. party after party. That was music. I want to thank Susan, Pension for a Month, Diamonds, Traveled the World, Tie with Smiley Faces, and Toastmasters, Table Topics. I enjoyed Dr. Mary Thomas saying, caught in his web of pickup lines. I will use that. And Jim probably would have gone on a date in high school. Piyush, gratitude stories, put something in front of you. These Toastmasters and guests were wonderful users of the English language. I do apologize that I was unable to find areas of improvement. I particularly focused my attention on what was positive tonight, because love is what we need. Thank you. Back to you.
Truly beautiful there. The grammarian doing such a fantastic job, Toastmaster Kathleen, absolutely awesome. And moving on to the R counter in that case, what were the R's and the ums and the fee-fo-fums that we went into?
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Aparna. First of all, I would like to congratulate the one who didn't use any clutch words while they are speaking. Toastmaster Jim, Toastmaster Jones, Toastmaster DTM Susan, Toastmaster Carol. They didn't use any clutch words. And sorry. Next, I'll give my findings as per my understanding. Sorry if I can't make out clear. Toastmaster Catherine has used 2 ums. Toastmaster Aparna has used 3 times, 1 time, right 1 time. Toastmaster Piyush has used for 4 times, like 1 time, for 15 times. Toastmaster Archana has used for 18 times, 1 time, and 7 times. Toastmaster Grace has used for 3 times. Finally, Toastmaster Mary has used district twice. That's it from our side, from my side. Over to you, Toastmaster Aparna.
Thank you so much for that wonderful observation and great finding out and paying so much careful attention there. Thanks a lot, Toastmaster Anu, and a timer, without whom you couldn't do anything. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, Toastmasters Aparna. Here's my report for our timings. For our prepared speeches, I am quite penchant for timings today. For the first speaker, Jones, he spoke for 5 minutes and 54 seconds. Second speaker, DTM Susan, 6 minutes and 38 seconds. During our table topics, guest Mary Thomas spoke for 2 minutes and 2 seconds. Jim, 1 minute and 45 seconds. Piyush, 2 minutes and 9 seconds. And Diana, when Toastmaster Aparna read her answer, it's 12 seconds. For our evaluation, Toastmaster Piyush spoke for 4 minutes and 19 seconds. And Toastmasters Carol talked for 2 minutes and 4 seconds. Over to you, Toastmaster Aparna.
Thank you so much for that, Toastmaster Grace. A wonderful time noted for absolutely everybody. And yes, it's critical that we maintain time. So before we get to hearing from our guests what they thought about our meeting, a last little couple of lines from me where love is. My love for you, I cannot say. It comes and goes in many ways. It's here, it's there, it's everywhere. My love is blind, my love is free. My love for you, you can never see. I loved you then, I love you now. I loved you always, there is no doubt. The love of us will never fade. The love of us will never betray. Because the love I found in my heart was meant to be from the start. And as I end this little poem, remember this. My love for you, you can never miss. This one was for you, DTM Susan. And let's now hear from our guests what they thought about the meeting. Any of our guests want to share what they felt? How did they like it? Yes, go ahead, please.
Sorry, I couldn't raise my hand. I was struggling with the button on my phone. Perhaps I can give my 2 cents.
Please.
Thank you very much. I think today it was my first time to give an icebreaker. I must say that it has been 1 week of preparation, and I must give gratitude to Toastmaster Catherine for the support that she's rendered throughout the week. The insights that she gave and the tips as well on how to go about this icebreaker. I was really blank, but she came on board and gave me support. And to other Toastmasters as well, I love the structure of the meeting. I think it's something that can keep me abreast to learning new things every day. And in every session, I am picking up new learnings. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that. Anyone else who would like to share? Toastmaster Mary, thank you for being our guest. And if you'd like to, yes, I just hear from you, Anu. Go ahead, Anu. You can go ahead.
I felt very grateful to join this session. In general, I'll attend the Toastmasters meeting only. I'm part of Toastmasters since 6 months. I'm not that much experienced, but I felt very happy by attending this session because I can see members from different countries, not only from so this I felt this is the way we can improve our language much easier than attending in the same country. I thought that's my takeaway from the session. Over to you, Aparna. Thank you, Toastmaster Aparna.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Anu. Toastmaster Mary, are you still here? Would you want to?
Toastmaster of the day. I was invited by DTM Susan. That's how I came to know about this club. And she gave a beautiful speech, as always. I truly love to listen to her experiences, her stories, and even as a presentation, calm, collected, poised. I really love that one. I've heard Susan before. And I'm actually from Leaders Worldwide, Toastmasters Club based in California. I am a Malaysian, but living in the Philippines, in Davao City. I think I see a Filipino here, right? Filipina, Grace, right? Kumusta? And yeah, and as Anu just said, we get to meet different people from different parts of the world. And I think that's the good thing that has happened out of the pandemic. If not, it's impossible for me to make so many friends from around different continents. Yeah, that's about it. The meeting was good, as always. I've been a Toastmaster since 1991, so that's a very, very long time. And I'm used to this. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Okay, then. So I think we are pretty much on time. So I'm going to wrap up. Thank you for being such a wonderful audience. Before we go, could we have people take up the roles for the next week, please?